Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Welcome one, welcome all to CNN 10. This is the first of two shows we're producing this week before we're off for the Thanksgiving holiday. In fact, Thanksgiving factors into our first report today because there's a lot of tension surrounding the holidays in the time of coronavirus. On Saturday, U.S. health officials said there'd been an increase of more than 1 million positive COVID tests in less than a week. It's a first that many new infections have been reported in that amount of time. Medical officials say to slow this down, people should keep their distance from others, not just by standing 6 feet away, but by not getting together over Thanksgiving. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control says people should only gather with others in their household, and it defines household as people who've been living in the same home for at least 14 days before the holiday. So families and friends traveling to be with others, college students wanting a home-cooked meal, the CDC says they should not visit anyone they're not already living with. The days before and after Thanksgiving are some of America's busiest travel days of the year. Travel is expected to be lower this Thanksgiving as compared with 2019, but how much so, we don't know yet. The AAA Motor Club organization has predicted at least a 10% decrease in the number of travelers. But Friday and Saturday marked the second and third busiest days that U.S. airports have seen since the pandemic's impact struck in March. And some travelers are telling CNN that they understand the risks associated with coronavirus, but they still want to be with their loved ones. So the CDC is recommending that they stay at least 6 feet away from others, wear masks, and gather outside where health officials say the chances of spreading coronavirus are lower. The tension between medical advisors and people who want to be with their families isn't limited to America.
Going home for the holidays. It's what the CDC advises against this Thanksgiving. Crowded airports, people mingling from different households, it's a perfect way for a virus to travel too. But the warning isn't enough to ground some passengers.
The planes are safe, they sanitize everything. You got to live your life at the end of the day.
But in many places, the concern is saving lives, as many governments reimpose restrictions and coronavirus cases reach alarming levels. On Monday, Toronto, Canada's most populous city, will go on lockdown for nearly a month. That means outdoor gatherings will be limited to 10 people, restaurants curbside or delivery only. Even grocery stores can only operate at half capacity. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau appealed for people to stay at home.
If you were planning to see friends this weekend, maybe don't. If there was a birthday party or a gathering for dinner you were thinking about doing, don't do it.
A similar message in Iran, where the Deputy Health Minister says family gatherings are the main cause of infections. The country recently closed non-essential businesses in 160 towns and cities. But some residents say people will continue to gather.
No matter how much the government imposes restrictions, people do not comply. It's useless.
In New Delhi, India, not complying with coronavirus rules comes with a cost. The government has increased fines there from 500 to 2,000 rupees, about $27, for those who don't wear masks. Cases in Brazil are once again on the rise, passing the 6 million mark after infections steadily declined since their peak in the summer. Officials say the surge is fueled by people out and about. In some cities, packing into public places at pre-pandemic levels. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he will provide the Sputnik V vaccine to countries that need it. That hope perhaps too far down the road for the wave of infections sweeping the world right now.
10-second trivia. What is believed to be the most expensive object ever built? Shanghai Tower, International Space Station, Notre Dame Cathedral, or Hong Kong International Airport? At a total cost of more than $100 billion, the ISS holds the record for most expensive object in history.
It was an amazing ride. I can't tell you how excited we were when that rocket lifted off the pad, and then the last 27 hours has gone really smooth, actually. We are so excited to be here. We are humbled, and we are excited to be a part of this great expedition.
amount of science, the amount of research, the amount of technology development we can do with the additional crew members.
There are large-scale trade shows for a number of industries. Con Expo for construction professionals, auto shows for the automotively enthusiastic, the Consumer Electronics Show to display the latest and greatest gadgets. One you might not be familiar with is the Global Grad Show. It's for graduate students at universities around the world. It's been in existence since 2015, and while it's gone virtual this year, the event is still highlighting the innovation of the world's student minds. Here's CNN 10 contributor Chris James.
Hey Carl, back in the day, I loved going to my annual school science fair. And although I personally, sadly, never took home any of those coveted prizes, I remember being blown away by some of the brilliant designs created by my fellow classmates. But what I'm about to show you takes your average school science fair to a whole new level. It's called the Global Grad Show, 100 ideas that could change society as we know it, created by some of the smartest students from around the world. Take this creation called Scales, a wearable device inspired by animals that are protected from threats by their skin, shells, or scales. It limits movement to prevent joint injuries using an algorithm created to the user's specifications. It can be used for injury prevention, rehabilitation, and to enhance sports performance. And look at this simulation of a house fire. Wow. This is the Sosmo, a rescue drone designed by a team in Peru, which features a foam-firing cannon to extinguish fires. It even has the capability to bring people to safety in the midst of a dangerous wildfire. Now, this is my personal favorite, the Pause Pillow. Designed by 2 South Korean students, a sensor is pressed when you lie on this pillow, which then sends out a signal to disrupt nearby Wi-Fi routers, blocking smartphones from accessing the internet. I really need that. And lastly, check out all these feathers. This is waste which would typically just be thrown out in the trash by the poultry industry. But now it's being turned into a lean source of edible protein. This proposal reprocesses the protein in a feather, eventually turning it into tender, lab-made meat. Wow, it is so inspiring to see all of these incredible creations and think about the ways in which they could change the world as we know it. Back to you, Carl.
Santa Claus always gets a 10 out of 10, even if he has to keep his social distance this year. In Nevada, Ethel M. Chocolates has a Santa kids can talk to behind a plexiglass window. At the Fashion Show Mall, Santa is masked up and ready to smile in the background of your Christmas photos. And Santas on Demand are available on the Cameo application, allowing people to request a personalized video from a socially distant St. Nick. None of this is quite the same as sitting on his lap and seeing the twinkle in his eye, maybe. And Santa might have been thinking, "'Tis 5 weeks before Christmas, and who's gonna hire us? I want to spread cheer, but not coronavirus. Even dressed all in fur from my head to my foot, that's more concerning than ashes and soot. When down through the chimney I set to my task, I need sanitizer and a cloth mask. Some creatures are stirring, but to doctors' insistence, their stockings are separate by 6 feet of distance. But Santa gets up even when he's knocked down. His magic subverts the most stringent lockdown. By taking precautions online and on site, he can still wish Merry Christmas and to all a good night." I'm Carl Azus. We are keeping our eye on Buckeye. It's a city in Arizona where you'll find the students of Yunker High School. That's a wrap for CNN.